Hello students. In this module or in this session, we have to mainly discuss about the machine learning project. So let's take a look about what type of project we can send in this particular course. So these are the project list. Basically, in this course, we have to look about three projects. First is the HR analytics based upon job change of data scientist. Second thing is based upon FEMA Indian diabetes dataset. And third project is depends upon default of credit card clients dataset. So let's have a take a look about the first project, and that is based upon HR analytics job change of data scientist. Let's talk about same thing. So, what is our task during this project of HR analytics with that job change of data scientists? So, at the same time, we are trying to predict who will be moved to a new job. So, basically, it look like it is some type of classification problem because we have to find out which employee will continue with the job and which employee will going with the new job. So, let's talk about what are the context and content are available related to this project. So let's talk about some background related to the HR analytics project. So we can start with like a company which is active in big data and data science wants to hire data scientists among people who successfully pass some courses which conducted by the company, and many people sign up for their trainings. So company wants to know which of these candidates are really wants to work for the company after training or looking for a new employment, because it helps to reduce the cost and time as well as the quality of training or planning the courses and categorization of the candidates. Information related to the demographics, education, and experience is enhanced from the candidate sign up and enrollment. So basically, for this, we are using this one type of the HR analytics data set, and this data set is designed to understand the factors that lead a person to leave current job for HR researches too as well as. So by the model, like by the machine learning model, that uses the current credentials, demographics, experience data, you will predict the probability of a candidate to look for a new job or will work with the company, as well as interpreting affected factors on employee decision. So basically, for that, in this project, we are getting an idea. We are trying to discuss about some classification models like logistic regression, are there decision tree, random forest, that type of classification model we can evaluate. But before that, we have to get some data pre-processing, data analysis, and data preparation process as well as. So let's talk about some more related to this project, like what we want regarding to this project. So basically, currently we are discussing about the summary of the problem statement. We are not discussing about the really what challenges we can find during the machine learning modeling, but we are just only talking about the summary related to dataset information. So there is one note is that dataset is imbalanced. Okay, so we have to do some more data pre-processing things or data preparation process because data is imbalanced. That's why. The second thing is most feature are categorical, nominal, ordinary, and binary is there, and some with high cardinality is there. So still we can play with some type of feature with in terms of category wise, and missing imputations can be a part of your pipeline as well as. Okay, so basically these data sets are also having some missing values, so we have to also balance some missing value as well as. So lots of, I think regarding to this thing, when I'm getting an idea, I have to work lots of things based upon some data pre-processing part. And what are the inspiration of this task, like what are the objective and motive of this task, like predict the probability of a candidate will work for a company and interpret the model such a way that illustrate which feature affect the candidate decision. So we have to take a decision like candidate can take the data scientist or machine learning job or not. So that type of things are coming over here in terms of inspiration. But still, whenever we can learn about some of the practical things, so we can get some more idea about this project, like how the project should work over here. So this session is ended over here, and from next session we can start the work based upon practical. Like first of all, we can start with the implement the libraries, like how library should work, and then so on. We can trying to import the data set and go on. We can work on that. So basically, in this session, we are just only discuss about like how the problem statement should be work and what are the summary related to the data set information and what is our finally inspiration, like what is our objective to complete this project. So let's start the practical thing based upon HR analytics project. So I already provide the name over here, HR analytics of this file. So whereas we can work based upon a job change prediction. So already in previous session we can discuss about like how what are the content are there and what are the context are there, and how we can go further with this project. Okay, so let's still we can discuss about like the how abstract should define over here. Data science is attracting a growing number of professionals in a managerial or the analytical role, especially those interested in the directing their careers to the new digital life. Okay, so based upon the one big company is there, and that they can assign some roles for related to the big data and data science, and everything we can discuss like how it can helpful to us. And from a human source management perspective, the company wants to know like which of the these candidates really want to work for the company, or they are looking for a new jobs as it helps to reduce the cost and time, as well as for the quality of training or planning for courses and candidate classification. So important information may pertain the demographics is their education experience and hand from the register and enroll the candidates. Therefore, basically in this notebook what we have to decide, or in this particular session based upon this practical project number one, what we have to decide. So in particular we have to attempt to understand what factors that lead to a person to work for the company or switch his or her career path to the data scientist. And in the particularly next step we can also apply some different model using the existing credential demographics experience data to the predict the probability of candidates looking for a new job, or it will work for the company. And basically this notebook or this project synthesize the model that can be used to predict employee possibility to switch their careers to a data scientist. So basically we have to find out the probability related to how many candidates can switch their career into the data science. So first part is based upon import the libraries, because here we have to work based upon some data cleaning, model fitting, prediction, recommendation, submission, many more things are there. But first step it's based upon import the libraries. So that's why we can start with the library part. So all the whole project we can see in part of the steps like first step, second step. That's how according to the steps we can trying to solve this whole project. Okay, so first part is based upon a library. So I can provide over here the comment like import libraries. Okay, so you can get idea like how the step by step schedule should be worked over here. So basic library we have to talk about. So first library, that is the numpy as np. Second library we already known, yes, there is a numpy as np, not ans. Okay, so second thing is the import pandas as pd. So these are the basic two library are there. Every time we have to use this library, but still according to the pandas, numpy, still there is a seaborn matplotlib is still important is there. Okay, so let's import the matplotlib library. Import matplotlib dot pyplot. We already know why we are using dot pyplot and everything. Okay, as plt, and the last library, basic library, that is the import seaborn as SNS. Okay, so that is the basic four libraries there. Also, if you want to remove some warning during your code, so you can also import one more library that is based upon import warnings. So that is your individual choices there. If you don't want to take this type of library, you can't take it. But if you want to like remove some basic warnings based upon your coding, so you can take it import warnings. And whenever you can try to import the warning, at the same time you can also try to ignore warning. So how you can ignore the warning? So for that again you have to call the warnings dot, you have to provide some ignore comments. Okay, ignore things. So that's why we have to take an warning dot filter warnings. Filter warnings we have to taken, and then according to the comments, double quotes, we have to provide the ignore over here. So that's how we are getting some better things. Let's check it out, everything was going correct or not. So I have to run this code. So basically it should take some of the little couple of seconds to run this code, but everything is looks proper, and the code was running properly like numpy, np, pandas, matplotlib. We already know like what is the objective behind the numpy, pandas, matplotlib and all the libraries. Okay, so that's how we are going. Okay, so once we can completing with the import the library, the next thing is depends upon import the data set. Okay, and once we can trying with the import data set, then we are focusing based upon a data cleaning. because we already learn about some part related to like what are the inspiration are there, what are the context and content and important notes are there, because data is imbalanced, okay, also missing values are there. So we have to understand about all that parameter, like what are the important things and what are not important things. So let's see how to import a data set. So here I just want to import a data. And once the data import thing should be completed over here, the next thing that is what we have to do over here. Here we have to just a simple concern about like what and how many data sets available. Okay. Till now, whenever we are working with the machine learning modeling, at the same time, I just only try to implement one input data. Okay. But here we are working with the 70% training data and 30% testing data, but different data set. Okay. So for this particular task, I want to use two data set. One data set prefer the training data set and second data set prefer the testing data set. Okay. So training data set is referred as a data is equals to, we have to use pd dot read underscore csv. We already know why we have to take an pd dot read csv, because pandas library can do everything related to the reading the on input data set. That's why we have to take an pd dot read csv. And now I have to provide the data name like augmentation are there. So ogle, then train is there because training file is there and based upon csv. So don't worry, in this course section you are getting every details related to that one. Okay. So whenever we can share with you like course material. So in course material data set you are already having this train CSV and test CSV. Okay, and you already know how you can arrange, how to arrange this file in your location folder. Okay, so that's how you are able to easily located your coding file or located your data sets easily in particular current folder. So that is the input data is there. And now let's talk about the test data. So that is the train data is there, it's known as data, but test data is again look like similarly read pd dot read csv. And inside again we have to take an aug, and then we have to take an test dot csv. Now we have to run this code. So data and test both things are evaluated over here. So let's check it out, like a data dot head of 5. So here whenever we have to take this one, so we are getting the first 5 samples in our training data set. So first 5 sample you are getting like this one. If you want to find out first 3 or first 4, you can also take it like this one, like data set or the data dot head of 2. So you are getting over here just only first 2 samples over here. If you can see over here in training data set or testing data set, both the data sets are having same features. Okay, but now it's time to talk about the features. What type of features we are having during this coding or in this from this data sets? The first feature, that is the enroll id is there. So enroll id, it stand for the unique id for enroll, like how many candidates or employees should enroll for this one. So their individual ids is there. City, so city will stand for the city code. City development index is there. So development index in the particular city according to the scale. Gender for of the enrollment, like which gender will represent with the enroll, like male are there, female are there. The relevant experience, because we have to find out the candidate are having experience related to the data science or machine learning. So that type of thing we have to evaluate over here. So relevant experience for the enroll. Next thing, that is the enrolled university. So if sometime if university that was good or high university, premium minister university is there, so that's why university is better, like the what are the name of the university. After that, education level is again important, because if the particular student or candidate can do some courses or do some degrees in particular data science field, so that helpful for them. So that's why education level of the enroll, major discipline like related to the education, major discipline of enrollment, experience are there. So enroll total experience in years, so candidate total experience related to that one. Company size, number of employee in current employee, company type of current employer, like which type of employment they can done till now. So that type of things we are getting over. Training hours, if some employee can take a training related to the data science in 20 hours, 30 hours, so that can also important over here. And last one, that is based upon a target. So target consider 0 and 1. So what is the meaning behind 0 and what is the meaning behind the 1? So basically those all are the thing related to the candidate or the employee. Okay, so employee, whenever employee are having 0, so it is meaning is like not looking for a job change. So those employee are having the zero things. I think they are don't want to convert their job into the data science engineer or the data scientist or machine learning engineer. But whenever we are getting one, so it is the meaning is like that looking for a job change with the data science. So for example, the employee before they are done tasks related to the software engineer, but if target is one, it means in future he wants to connect it with the data science role. So that type of things we are getting over here according to these features. Let's talk about some more thing related to the basic information extraction are there, and some part of the things we can see in the next session. But let's see find out data types over here. So we are getting an idea how many floats are there. And sorry, we are just only taking data types is there. It's a data d type should command is work. Okay, so I forgot to name. Okay, yeah. So these type of things are there. How many integers are there? How many objects are there? And how many floating point is there? So float is related to the city development index and target is there 0 and 1. So that are the floats. Otherwise, mainly we are getting over here the objects are there. Like these all are the objects are there. But here the one main thing is that but the categorical variables for that what things we can apply. Like yes, first I need to deal with the categorical variables, okay, because those are categorical variables. First we have to deal with that. So columns which have values different than numbers, okay. So a simple way of selecting all categorical columns is by checking their type. And thus in the databases only four columns are the four numerical data. So based upon that we are having the four columns are there that can consider the numerical data, okay. And up to 10 columns are the categorical variable type, because we if you can see mainly you are getting object, okay. So that's why we are getting idea these are based upon some categorical variables. And whenever if you can see the integer 64 is very less time is there, so around four column are related to the numerical data. Still let's find out how on where we are getting some missing values, okay. Missing values or is the like zeros values, okay. So let's find out how many missing values or zeros value we are getting over here. So for that again we are using one of the important function from panda, that is the is null function. So according to the is null function, we are getting an idea how many time we are getting some missing values. Let's check it out through this code, because this code is half completed is there, but still we are getting the things related to the false too. But the data set size is very long. So how I can find out like particularly from Android ID how many missing values are there, from city how many missing values are there. For that, once we can apply data dot is null, at the same time we have to again add one more function, and that is the sum. So after applying the sum function, if we can run this code, so we are getting over here the base idea. So from Android ID column, we are having zero missing values or zero null values. In city, zero null value. But when we talk about the gender, enroll university, education level, major discipline, company size, company type, latest, last new job. So at the same time, we are getting some number. So that is nothing but is the like zeros values are there. Okay. So we are getting zeros values like, and in some of the column are having zero. So none of the value related to the zero, but in some of the value we are getting zeros values is there. It means it's also represent and not available any number of type things is still available over there. Okay, let's start with some further things related to the same thing. We already learned about the correlation matrix during the statistics and probability module. Okay, let's do the something based upon that practical as well as. So here we are going with the data correlation over here. So for the function for the data correlation, it's a data dot c is there, and also we have to provide the blank brackets for functions. Okay. So once we can run this code, so we are getting the correlation matrix. But here in correlation matrix, we are just only getting these four parameters. Why? Because the correlation matrix are just only work with the particularly those are dealing with the numerical values. Okay. So whenever the numerical values are present at the same time, we have to work with the data correlation matrix. Okay. So that's why correlation matrix only access this four values, four features, those who are work with the numerical values. So after discussing about this how it should work related to some data features and as well as data pre-processing things, let's look at the frequency of each category separated the histogram charts to check if there is any special information to distinguish whether the result of the target is zero or not looking for job change, or a one it means looking for a job change. Okay, so till now we are finding out some information, but now it's time to do some visualization. Okay, So whenever we are trying to implement any type of the visualization, so we are getting some more idea like what type of things we are doing till now. Okay, so let's make a one histogram chart, not a one, but we have to create some bundle of histogram chart. But in that we have to create one of the logic. Okay, so logic is related to like frequency of each category separated by their label. Label it means in their features as well as. Okay, so let's start with that. But before that, I can provide one comment over here. So whenever you are trying to learn these things, so it is easy for you understanding the same thing. Okay, so frequency of each category is, or you can also go with separated by the label. Okay, okay, so now we can start code from over here. Basically, when we are trying to create the histogram, so that is based upon a matplotlib. Okay, so we have to go with the plt, so that is a shortcut of matplotlib. And first of all, let's find out some figure size over here, because we are trying to create a bundle of histogram charts. Okay, so that's why we have to go with some proper size. Okay, size is very matter over here. So that's why let's take a plot dot figure is there, and based upon the figure, now it's time to decide the figure size over here. So we have to find out what type of figure size I want in terms of the length and width as well as. Okay, we have to find out some height and width. Okay, so for that one, let's take 15 and 18. I think that was better over here. So simply we have to take in 15 and 18. If we want a higher size, we can change this one. And if the things are not fitted in my screen, so I can reduce the size as well as. Okay, so that's how we have to go further. Now let's find out the what are the features I want. Okay, so let's get something based upon a feature. So features are nothing but what are the basically the categorical things are there. Okay, so at that point we have to take on as a feature. Okay, we are not able to take on some enrollment id, because these all are the numerical values is there. Okay, so that's why we are not able to take on that one. So let's start it with the first parameter. So again I have to scroll up the things, because here we are getting that output like how many null object. No, that is a data type. Yeah, that is important. So first thing we have to take and that is the gender, and from gender we have to take relevant experience, enrolled university, education level, major discipline. So these all things we have to take on. Let's just check it out. We are able to do some copy paste over here. I think that looks not too perfect, but still we have to save our time. So that's how I want to take on this one. Let's see what type of things we are getting over here. Okay, we are getting this one. So this object is not necessary over here, so we have to remove these object things over here. So the code is very complex. The code is not looks very small over here, so it will take time to editing the things. Because again if I try to write down everything, so again it should take a lots of time over here. Okay, so let's start it with the first thing, that is the gender is there. So we have to provide the gender within single quotes, because now we are trying to create one thing parameter, that is the features is there. So that's why again, from here we have to provide the same thing within single quotes. So it should take lots of time. So I have to take on something like that one. You can also take on double quotes as well as. Okay, here I have to take on the single quotes, but that is your choice is there. If you want to take on a double quotes, so you can also take it that one. So there is lots of parameters are there that already exist in our data sets. So that's why whenever we are trying to do some coding based upon this data pre-processing, so always it should take lots of time for us. Okay, because we are working with lots of things. Okay, so company size is there. After there is a company type is there. So we have to take on from again over here. Again we have to provide the same thing. Company type is there, and after company type there is the last thing, that is the last new job is there. Otherwise all the things we are all already taken from there. Okay, so that is also depends you, like if you want to like simply provide the enter over here, so it should take some time new line. Okay, so you have to follow some alignment as well as, so that's why it is important like follow the some of the alignment. Okay, and last things you have to provide the square bracket, so the bracket is completed over here, and then you can remove this whole thing. Now it is not necessary. Yes, now it's the thing are perfect over here. So once these things was completed, now you have to take in some of the samples, like first of all we have to take an n is equals to 1, like from first sample to you can start. And now let's create one of the for loop. Okay, so why the for loop is needed? Because we are having some multiple features, and according to the multiple features we are following, we are applying the target according to all the features, and then we are getting an idea how the feature should work over there. Okay, so for f in the features, and then basically here I'm not creating any much thing, but we are just only creating simple for loop over here. And now you already known during the matplotlib like what is the meaning behind the subplot. Yes, here we have to taken 5 for the rows and 2 for the columns. Okay, so according to 5 columns I want to sorry, the 5 rows I want to create, 2 column I want to create, and according to the number of samples. So here I have to simple taken n is equals to 1, and now I want to develop something based upon seaborn library. Okay, so that's why inside the histogram I also want to look like similar thing related to the count plot. Okay, so count plot and histogram it's again look similar, is that that's why I have to taken also the count plot over here. So sns dot count plot, here I have to equate x is equals to f, and then we are also taken to able hui function. Okay, so hui function you already know like why and in what time we are using hui function. So here we can implement hui function with the target. Okay, target are having two classes 0 and 1, so that's why hui function is better option for that. Then alpha is there, alpha is representing nothing but some parameter related to the size. Okay, and then we have to take in data. So here I want to use training data, that's why data is equals to data I have to take it. And now let's editing something related to the some title or axis. Okay, so the title of this plot is coming as count plot. Okay, so count plot of, here I have to take in a curly brackets because whatever the things I want to add it over here, like that why by target. And once this should complete it, then here in this curly bracket I want to add the value of f, so that's why format of f should be necessary. And everything I want to work during the iteration, so that's why n is equals to n plus 1, so that looks better during the iteration. So now the loop was completed over here, and finally I want to find out the chart over here, so that's why everything looks completely within perfect size. So that's why I want to go with the tight layout, so everything looks fitted in our my basically in my computer size. Okay, so that's why. And then for showing the plot you have to go with the plot dot show. Let's get some idea like the thing was it running correctly or not. So we are getting one error. Yes, yes, we have to take it this one. I think still we are getting an error. So don't worry, it is happen whenever we are trying to do this type of things like coding part. During the coding part we are getting an error. So I think yes, yes, some of the part we are getting output, but somewhere we are not getting, like could not interpret measure discipline. Okay, so where is the measure discipline? I think yes, yes. Okay, so we have to try to run 3 4 times to this one, because every time we are getting some small errors. Okay, yeah, now the things are completely perfect. Okay, so this is the output of code. Yeah, so here you are getting an idea, like according to the every feature you are getting an idea. Like see, whenever here we have to take an x-axis as a gender, so male and female is there. So how many the target is 0, it means so here if you are getting an idea, the total candidates, male candidate is more as compared to female candidate. But the thing is that like around 10,000 of candidates it's denied to change their role from software engineer or some particular engineer to the data science. So they are not interested to change their job role. Okay, but some of the things are related to some of the male are interested to change their role as well. So that is a good idea is there. Also in female there is a gender is again important over here, like male and female is there. So the female candidates it's very less, around like 100 or 200. Okay, so that type of idea we are getting from this chart of count plot. Okay, also many more the relevant ideas is there, like relevant experiences there, like people are having the highest experience and the people are not having the related some more experience, but still the criteria look similar, like the ratio is 1000 and 2000, so it's not big differences there. full-time courses, how many people can do four full-time courses, and still those people are not done any type of courses, still they are interested to change their job role. So experiences also matter. So that's how we are getting an idea which parameter you can use on which way. Okay, so I hope we already done many of tasks related to the matplotlib and the seaborn, so you will get an idea like how we can go with the same thing. Okay, so from this histogram chart or the count plot, okay, so it can be seen there is no spatial correlation between the variables with the target function to the distinguish the value of target. So furthermore, with this categorical variable cannot determine the correlation factor between this variable and the target variable. Okay, so still we have to see about the model fitting and how prediction should be work. Okay, so good to know that that is correlation can't be calculated for the categorical variables. So dealing with them before what is the important. Okay, so now it's time to start the pre-processing the categorical data by removing the numerical column and using the map things. Okay. Okay, so let's start data treatment over here. Okay, so okay, so that is the one part of the data pre-processing. That's why. So here once basically I can provide one of the comment over here so that easy to understand. Like now it's time to we are starting a data treatment. Also in histogram or count plot, you if you want to provide some of the color according to your thinking, you can provide your own color. Okay. So yeah, let's start it with the same thing. And here again I can provide the one comment. So here we have to take on some current versus normal things. Okay, so that's why. Okay, so let's start the coding over here. So basically, we can create one parameter related to the counts is there. Okay, so based upon count, we are getting an idea how many target values are there according to the counts. Okay, so for that we have to take an target data dot target value of counts, so we can get better idea. And then once count is there, so now we have to find out how many things are not changed till that. Okay, so not change, and then counts of we have to take in square bracket within this counts over here, and then change is equals to again we have to take counts of 1. Okay, so change is equals to counts of 1 is there, and now we have to precisely find out the how many things are available over here. Okay, so what type of things we don't want to change over here, so for that we have to try to write one code over here. So we have to use normal brackets over here, like not change divided by the not change plus change. So that type of equation we are using over here. We already created not change before one, that's why. And now we have to take divide function, and again we have to take an not change plus change. So both the things we already created like change and not change. Okay, so that's why we have to follow the same thing, because somewhere what is happening like that, like if we can left the one of the bracket, so it can create any type of the error. So that's why bracket is more important. So again then we have to take p first of change is equals to, again we have to write down the things in terms of bracket, like change by not change the things plus change. And again we have to take and multiply with 100 over here. So again we have to take an print off. So here we have to take an there was, or you can also taken like there where we are taken this one. And also we have to use over here again curly brackets, because we have to provide one of the value related to the precision values as well as a precision for not changing values. Okay, so that's why it is important over here. So that's why we have to take an curly bracket over here, and then no not change. So here we have to use some multiple brackets. That is the important thing over here. Also we have to follow some semicolons to get some better idea related to that one. And once this should completed, we have to provide the percentage over here, and after that we have to take an and again we have to take an this curly bracket over here, and then we have to take and change. Again we have to use some same thing what we used previously related to the semicolon and point off with the 3 decimal point we have to take on over here. And then again once we can take on this one, we have to provide one percentage sign, so it should give us better idea related to that one. So now once it should completed, after that what we have to do, so here once the thing was completed over here, then we are trying to work with the format part. Okay, so again here we have to use format function. Okay, so you already know, like whenever we are using format function, so at the same time we are trying to settle down some values over here. Okay, so in that format, first of all we have to take a not change, because we already used that part. Not change, first thing is not change. The second thing is based upon the precision about that one. Okay, so again we have to take precision, not change. And then last thing, that is just change in percentage of change is there, and percentage of changes there. I think everything we should take on over here. Let's run this code. If we are getting an idea error, so we are idea like on what line of error, on which line of code we did mistakes. Okay, so basically percentage not change at the same time. Okay, I think we had taken one or more brackets, or according to the space we are getting an idea error. Like, let's check it out. Yes. Okay, not change. Sometimes what is happening like that, if we can do some minor error like in capital or small spelling, still we are getting an error. Let's find out. Not change is not defined. Okay, not change is already defined over here. Okay, the spelling of CHA NG. Okay, so there is this mistakes in spelling, so that's why we are getting an error. Yes, now it's perfect. Okay, so that's why during the project here, because we have to do some complex coding, and during when we are trying to do some complex coding at the same time, the mainly the error should coming during this type of small spelling errors are there, or sometime it should error will come in terms of the some spaces are there, or basically that type of error should every time coming during when we are trying to do some projects. Okay, so once these things should completed, now the again the same thing we can find out throughout the numpy. Okay, so that's why let's tested numpy array function, and with that array function let's find out what are the columns are there. So that is columns, and we have to take in data dot d types. And also here I want to take a relationship like not equals to. Okay, so that's why we have to take in this one not equals to over here, and then we have to take an object. So now everything is completed. Okay, so this type of things I don't want to include over here. So these are the parameters that is treated as a not objected like, and it is treated as a numerical things. Okay, so that's why whenever we provide like is not equals to objected, so we are getting this type of stuff over here. So again it is a important thing over here, so we can get some idea like which things are considered as if you're not easily idea getting idea about like which parameters are looking as a numerical or which parameter looking as object, so you can also use this type of codes. Okay, so import related to same thing, I want to do some still I want to complete some more coding related to that type in this particular session. But still now it's time to using new library, and that is the copy library. Okay, I want to made these changes related to the object and numerical things in my data set as well as. Okay, so that's why let's make one new data frame, and that is a copy of train data set and testing data set. Okay, so that's why the name of that data set is this train df of train. Df it stand for the data frame of train, and here I want to make a copy of train data. Okay, so that's why copy dot dip copy. Dip copy is the function of copying the data, and inside this function we have to provide the train data. So train data is called as a just only data, and testing data is known as the test data. Okay, so df dot test is equals to again copy dot dip copy. Okay, dip copy is the function for that one, and inside we have to provide the test over here. Okay, so that's how we are going for the next one. So once these things should complete it again, so we can recall our columns with the same code what we had already applied is not equals to that one. So the basic and easy thing is that let's copy this code overall, so we can get idea about that one. Okay, so no need to typing everything for all the time. Okay, and according to that one, let's write one for loop, simple for loop. Okay, for all the input samples for I in like a df of train, like training data set, in the particular training data set columns we have to work with that one. So basically enroll id city development index, training hours, and target. These four columns I want to remove from my training and testing both the data set. Okay. So whatever the things currently I can do just only for removing that part. Okay. So that's why I can try to write down this whole long code for that one. Okay. So once they should complete it over here, now I have to take in some if statement related to that one. If I not in the columns, then again we have to take semicolon, and we have to now work with the df of train over here. And with that train, I have to select the input samples I. So that's why I have to take an I over here is equals to, again we have to take an df of train over here. So in that train I have to take an again I, we have to take an over here, and according to that mapping we have to using inside the string. So that's why we have to take an str. Again here we have to take an df of taste, and inside the taste we have to take an I. So here we have to again use this one like data frame of taste and taste of I. And with that again we are trying to mapping with the string over here. So same type of thing we are using over here like df of train and df for the test. Now it's time to end this for loop as well as if statement, and finally we are implementing all the changes in my data frame from the train. And from the train I want to training data set, I want to drop these columns. Okay. So that's why df dot train dot drop function, we are trying to remove these columns. So that's why columns is equals to calls, because after removing these four parameter, the new thing that is that will commonly complete as a column calls and calls is equals to columns. So that's why we are working with that. And what are the changes we are applied over here? In that we are trying to complete with the implace is equals to true over here. Once this should complete it over here, df of taste of drop we have to taken, and inside that we have to again taken the columns over here. And columns again we have to remove something some part over here. So that's why np dot delete function we have to use, and inside that delete function again we have to taken columns over here. And then it's time to wherever we are trying to work with the testing data set. Okay. So that's why target parameter is not important. Okay. So for removing the target parameter we have to take in columns minus one. Okay. So here we have to take in columns minus one. So at the same time last column is replaced over here. So once we can complete it over here, and in the last we are just only applying in place is equals to true. So the things are completed over here. Let's check it out. We are getting error or not. So here we are not getting any type of error. So let's find what type of final training parameter we are getting over here. So let's check it out. TF underscore train dot columns. So now I have to run this code. Okay, so here we are getting city, gender, relevant experience, enrolled university, education level, major disciplines of experience, company size. Okay, so based upon that, let's find out what are the data types is there. Okay, just a second. So if you can see over here, I think index has no attribute. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, yeah. To remove this one. Still series not callable over here. We have to find out what type of stuff we are getting over here, because till now we had done things are correctly. Df dot train. So yes, now with that. Okay, so if you can see over here, we are not getting any type of the integer over here. We are not getting any type of float 64 integer 64. Now my data set it's look like very clean. Okay, because we are having just only objects over here. So that's how we are able to remove some of the parameter those who are not required. We are able to remove that one. Okay, so that's how we are doing some of the cleaning over here based upon data treatment plan part. How to convert this string into the code. Okay, yeah. So that's how we can go with that one. So now according to that one we will assign each categorical variable value a number. So let's say a b a f and name value map to the 1 2 1 3. To do that we will use the label encoder from the sklearn preprocessing package. Okay, so data treatment thing was completed. Now it's time to implement some of the things related to the data sklearn preprocessing part. Okay, so let's use the sklearn library, and based upon that we are trying to complete the how we are able to go with the data pre-processing part. So we are getting some better idea related to that one, like how we are able to convert the things into the, because see, still we are getting object, but still we are able to convert this object into the numerical things. Okay, so that part it's able to do with the sklearn pre-processing part, whereas we have to convert a is equals to 1, b is equals to 2, c is equals to 3, and that's how we are able to convert the things over here. So let's start with the things related to the sklearn pre-processing. So first of all, we have to import the model based upon sklearn pre-processing. That's why we have to take on from sklearn dot pre-processing. We have to try to import label encoder. So that's why we have to take label encoder. Also from the collection, and we have to import the default dictionaries. So like basic stuff is there, so we have to take on that one. That is important over here. So from the collections, we have to import over here. That is the default dictionary is there, so that type of thing we have to use it over here. So let's take it that one. If you want to run this code, you can run it, because sometime what is happening if a library is not properly installed, or we are not getting the libraries are there, so that's why we have to use this type of things over here. So similarly things I can facing over here, like cannot import name the default dict. So why we are not getting, I think the spelling is wrong, otherwise thing is completed over here. The default dictionary is there. Yes, now it's perfect. So the spelling is wrong over here, the default dictionary. Okay, so you can still continue with this own string is there. Okay, now we have to build a dictionary function. So that's why again I can write down one comments over here for that one. So build the dictionary function. So just simply have to take dict and function over here. So let's take that one, and the parameter for that one, that is the columns is equals to columns is there, and then numpy dot array, and based upon that array we have to take data dot columns, and in the square bracket we have to take an data dot you can take data of d types, like data types it can consider as, and not equals to object. Okay, so again we are trying to work with the same thing related to the numerical things. Okay, the things are completed over here related to columns. Okay, the same line we had written many times. Okay, so same thing we had written over here, but based upon that, like those are just only numerical values are there. So based upon that one, I want to create a one of the dictionary, and dictionary I want to convert into the 1 2 3 4 like that one. Okay, so that's why I can use this one. So again, now we have to take default, I think it's a default is there, fault, spelling is just mismatched. Okay, so default, yes, dictionary I want to use over here, and with that I have to use label encoder. Yes, it's perfect. Now it's time to run this code. So still we are not getting any error, and everything is looks perfect. Okay, so in the next part we have to do the like only for categorical columns apply dictionary by calling for fit transform. Okay, so we are creating this dictionaries. Okay, but now it's time to fitting this dictionary with the label encoding. Okay, so for fitting we have to use some fitting transform function, and based upon that one we are getting idea how this fit transform function can fit everything in our training data frame and as well as testing data frame. Okay, again I can provide one more comment over here to getting some better idea related to the code. Okay, otherwise no need to apply every time this comments. Okay, only for categorical columns apply dictionary by calling fit transform function. Okay, so there is a fit transform function. Okay, so let's write down the fit transform function over here. So let's start it with the df of train, because it is the main parameter is there, and again we have to use like a copy function over here according to df train dot copy, not copy, but here after copy we are to trying to apply the same thing. And during the methods and functions of python chapter we had learned about the lambda expression. Okay, so here we are trying to use lambda expression over here, because it should applied very easily, and the length of code should be reduced whenever we are trying to use lambda expression. Okay, so dictionary we already created, and based upon that one we have to taken the input name based upon x name. Okay, so once it should complete it, now it's time to apply the fit transform over here. So fit transform is the function coming from the label encoder. So that's why it should working easily and appropriately over here. So same once we can do the things related to DF train, and similar things we have to apply with the taste. Okay, so no need to return everything again and again. We have to just replace train with the taste. Okay, so that's why we have to copy the same code over here, and just we have to take on over here just only taste, and also from over here we have to just only taken taste over here. Otherwise, after we have to take in lambda x name dot transform of x, so everything is looks similar, so no need to do the same thing again and again. Just only the one thing, it should come like df train, and as replace to train we have to take an taste over here. Okay, so once it should complete it again, and we have to just find out the simple thing at the last related to the train. Okay, so df train, we have to take on over here the columns, and based upon that columns we have to take on over here the data of columns, and in a df of taste we have to take on some complex things, because we have to use np dot delete whatever the things we had already done. See, let's check it out what type of things we have to take in. Again here, we if you want, we have to take an np dot delete, and again we have to use this same thing over here. Okay, so let's copy this code over here from over here to that one. Okay, so in this particular df taste, we have to provide this one np.delete, and according to that one, we have to also take in columns, length of columns, and -1. And at then once the thing is completed over here, we have to equate with the taste of, again we have to taken over here the same thing what we can put over here. So same thing I can taken over here. So now it's perfect look like df taste np of delete columns and length of column -1. Same thing I can take on a right hand side and left hand side, so it's equals to taste as well as. So let's run this code so we can get some idea like we are getting an error. No, we are not getting any type of error. And once we can complete this part, now it's time to examine the results, considering the correlation between the pseudo categorical variables and the target objective function. So let's for that one we have to write down one main code like related to df train, like df train with that data types, because in the last thing we already seen how we are able to find out the data types. So at the same time everything is looks related to the object. Now everything is looks related to the integer 32. Why? Because we are using label encoder. So label encoder are converting a into 1, b into 2, c into 3. So that type of concept we can implement it over here. And then let's check it out the same thing with that one, like df underscore we have to take an taste dot columns. So we are getting some better idea about the tasting side as well as. So what are the parameters are available in a tasting side? So if you can see in a tasting side, we are getting again more important parameter is there, CT, gender, relevant. So all the parameters are available over here still. Okay, so that is the again important thing are there. So it's not look like that ki what type of changes we made in a testing side. So what type of change we made in a training side, same change we are already made in a tested side. So tested size, okay, side. Okay, it looks different in training side as well as the testing side. Let's start to plot about heat map. Okay, so already we imported a library related to heat map, like matplotlib library is already imported over here, seaborn library is already imported, but still based upon one of the style libraries that is coming from the matplotlib, that is not imported. So let's import that one library. So for that, that is the import matplotlib dot style, because it's refer for the style library. Okay, so that's why we have to use matplotlib dot style as style, because it can provide the style function. That's why it is important over here. So after that one, the library is already used, but during that style plot, we have to use one of the function, one of the library related to the style or matplotlib, that is a ggplot. Basically the ggplot function is much popular with the r programming. Okay, whenever we are working with the r programming or r studio, at the same time for doing visualization we are using a ggplot library, but here still we are using ggplot function with this style map. Okay, so once we can import it with the matplotlib style, then next part of style can done with the cbon. Okay, so that's why we have to take on over here sns dot set this style over here. Because see, basically whenever we are getting heat map, so heat map are getting like 10 cross 10, 20 cross 20, 15 cross 50, 16 cross 16. That's how we are getting. but whenever we are using some style thing, then style according to style we are setting this one. So at the same time we are getting just only diagonal thing are there. Okay, so that's why you are getting, whenever once we are implement the output, you can get the idea like how the output will look like as compared to normal things. Okay, and in the style we are providing the white grid over here. Okay, so once white grid is provided over here, and then we have to take a plot with the subplots. Okay, so plot dot subplots we have to take and inside this subplot we have to take this figure sizes as well as, so figure size is equals to, we have to take under the bracket 12 and 7. So that's how it should work over here. So this is just initial part is there. After once you completed this initial part, we have to just try to run this part. So any type of, yes, style, yes. I think I have to take her to write wrong question, wrong spelling. Okay, yeah. So once we can get the style, so we are getting the idea about this one. So 12 cross 7. So our output is coming in between this one. Okay, so 12 cross 7. So that type of basic simple chart paper we already created. Okay, but in that chart paper we have to implement still some of the parameters related to our data set. Okay, so let's try to that one, because we have to plot the heat map, and here we have to generate a mask for upper triangle. Okay, so that's why this style is important over here I can also provide the comment over here, generate the upper mask. Okay, so whenever you are getting output, you will get an idea like upper mask triangle, how it can generate it, upper mask triangle. Okay, so let's do coding over here after this one. Okay, yeah. So first of all, we have to create the parameter for the mask over here, and in that mask, we can starting with the np dot zeros. Okay, because in terms of zeros, we are getting an output. That's why we have to take an np dot zeros with the like function, and inside the like function, we have to provide the df dot train with the correlation function. Okay, so df underscore train, and with that, we have to take an correlation over here. Once correlation should be completed, then after that we have to provide the data type over here, and in this data type we have to take an numpy with the boolean is there. Okay, so that type of stuff we have to take on over here. Once after that one, now we have to use this mask parameter inside another code, and for that again we are using numpy library with the that triangle function. Okay, so we have to use triangle over here, and with that particular indices we have to use underscore to refer the indices from the mask. So from mask we have to take an over here. So mask is considered within normal brackets, and once it should completed, we can provide one of the condition related to the true over here. So that is a true condition is this. Then again we have to take an SNS dot heat map over here, and inside the heat map we have to take an df underscore train dot correlation. Thing is completed over here, but still I want to work with some of the color map. Okay, so color is important over here, so let's change some of the color over here, or some of the theme over here. Okay, so that's why this comes with the Seaborn library. Okay, so here SNS with the diverging thing I want to use over here. So there is a diverging is there, and inside the diverging I have to take on some of the palette. Okay, so palette should be work like PALETT, because palette spelling is again there is a different type of spelling is there, so that's why we have to carefully with the spellings. Okay, and once we have to take a palette, we have to again define the proper size and how many number of samples you want to take in during this practical. Okay, so I want to go with the 200 numbers. Also during the C1 we discuss about many more things like what are the meaning of anode, like if you want to go with the some proper specification or proper information or not. So that type of thing is working over here. So that type of idea we are getting from over there regarding to anode is there. Also there is a mask is equals to, you can also take it mask is equals to mask. If you want to change the name, you can change it. That is depends upon your or your thinking as well as. And after that we have to add, then we have to take on center is equals to 0. Still if you want to provide any type of this stuff over here, you are able to provide over here. That is individually your choice is there. Okay, so I can ended the things over here, but also in this palette we have to close this over here, and then we have to just simply take a semicolon and enter. Okay, so everything is completed over here, and just at the end we have to just simple provide the title over here. So there is a plot title is there. Okay, so title is there, and whatever the title you want to provide over here, you can provide over here. But at the end we have to provide some of the things related to the how many font size you want to take in. Okay, so that type of thing you also have to provide over here. So let's take the title of this one, that is the heat map of all the features of train data set. Okay, so that is the thing is working over here, train data set. And now it's time to apply the size over here. Font size is equals to 25. Okay, but here what are the brackets quotes you had taken, you are trying to enter it over here, because font size is applied in terms of the coding. Okay, the things are completed over here, and then you have to provide the semicolon, and now it's time to run this code. But we are getting an error. Yes, I think I forgot to provide over the comma. Yeah, now I think it's completely provided output. Yes, it is perfect. Okay, so whenever we are taken some upper triangle mask, okay, so at the same time we are just only getting values over here. Okay, we are not getting values from over this side, we are just only getting values from over this side. So that is the just difference we are getting during this type of coding. Okay, so the result are not bad, but try to limit some of the variables with the low correlation result by setting the limits. Okay, for example, we choose the correlation only if it's above 0.01 or only it's below the 0.01. So if you want to do that type of an analysis, you are also able to do that type of analysis in terms of the coding. If during the coding, if you can provide some of the logic related to the like correlation observement is greater than 0.01, or correlation observement is greater than 0.01 or less than 0.01, so you will get some better idea about that one. Okay, because at the same time from that heat map, you can clearly observe the things, or you are getting the idea the target has a high dependence on the city development index, which means the candidate from the city with higher amount of development index tends to move towards the field of data science. So those candidates or those employees are related to the city development index. So they, if they are having some higher amount of development index are there, so they are easily getting the idea related to the data science, and in future they are joining the job related to the data science. Still many type of visualization we have to do here. We are just only complete this one of the heat map related visualization. Let's start to visualize feature with high positive and negative correlation. So for that I can provide over here the one of the comment to get better idea, like visualizing the feature which positive and negative correlation. So that is looks very easiest to understand. So here the code is not very difficult, but the code looks lengthy because we have to trying to create the box plot to getting idea about the feature with high positive and negative correlation. So for that, first of all we have to take an f and axis over here, axis. So according to that one we are using matplotlib and seaborn together. So plot dot subplot, because according to subplot wise I want to find out the things in terms of number of rows and number of columns. So at the same time we are getting some different plots similarly look like a count plot. Previously we can see about how we are able to create count plot over here, so that should looks easy to visualize as well as. And then we have to trying to set some figure over here, figure size. So figure size is equals to, we have to take an 20 as a length, and in particular width I have to take on 15. Till we can check like what are the perfect length is over there, but till we can go with this one. So if I can run this one, so in the particular output we are getting all the subplots over here, so you will get an idea like how it looks whenever the output should come over here. Also if you want to change the number of rows and number of columns according to your thinking, you are able to change that one. But still I want to go with the same thing. So now it's time next in next further coding I can add some parameter over here. So first of all let's go with the f with the subtitle. Okay, so that's why we have to take an subtitle over here. And in that subtitle I have to provide the main subtitles look like a title of this particular coding, and that is the feature what we already taken over here. So that is nothing but new thing is there, so we are also able to take copy from over here. So that should be time saving thing is over here, like feature with positive and negative correlation. We can also take in feature with high positive and negative correlation, so that is important. And once this should completed, then we have to find out the size of this one. So here I have to take in size is equals to 30 over here. I think that looks better for reading the things. Okay, now let's start it with the subplot, and that should work in terms of the with the box plot and c1. Okay, so we have to take an SNS dot box plot. So in that particular box plot, first of all we have to select what are the x and what are the y's there. Okay, every time we have to take an x is equals to target, so target of as x is equals to target, that is the fixed is there. But every time we have to change y. Okay, so in a first thing we have to go with the y is equals to city over here. After we have to taken some gender, relevant experience, education level, many more parameter we have to taken, but started with the just only basic city. So let's start with the city y is equals to city. And also here we have to create our data. So data is equals to, already we had to take a df of train. So df underscore train, it is my data input training set is there, and find out the axis related to that one. So ax is equals to axis, and in that axis we have to trying to find out what are the number of columns and rows is there. So this is for first one, so that's why we have to go with the 0 and 0. So once I can run this code, so just only I'm getting output for a single one. Okay, the further one that is was fulfilled over here because I already implemented for this one. So for according to this target versus ct over here, so I'm getting an idea like what are the positive correlation is there and what are the negative correlation is there. Also we can provide the color is there, like a red will stand for the 0 and 1. So 0 will negative correlation and 1 will stand for the high positive correlation. So that's how thing was working. Now step by step we have to do same thing for everyone. Okay, so because this is for standing for the target and city. Okay, again now we have to take on for second parameter, so that's how we are able to apply the in all the parameter like similar one. Okay, this one for the city. Now we have to take in same thing for the gender, but whenever we are working with the gender parameters, at the same time here we have to take in one over here. Now it's time to run this code. So still in last one we are just only getting the things related to target and city, but now we are getting the same thing with the target and gender as well. So here second plot is completed over here. In a similar way we are trying to do the third, fourth, fifth, and many more things is that, like we are having some multiple parameters there. So after that we are having relevant experiences there. So let's check it out how it should work for that one. But the main thing is spelling is there, because the spelling is different sometimes. If you are taking a dog is equals to dog, but some in some data set the dog spelling is also taking like dog, like dog. So you have to follow the correct spelling according to your data set, not the correct spelling according to the english. Okay, so there is a relevant experiences there. And also here we have to take in 0, 1, and 2. Let's spelling is correct or not. Yes, I think spelling is correct. Yes, yes. So that's how the things we are getting over here. So what are the positive and negative correlation we are getting like this one. Also there is company size is there, company type is there, many more things are there. So that should related in terms of the rows and columns. Okay. So still till now we are just only complete the first three. Okay. So now we are going with the next thing, that is the enrolled university. So at the same time here we have to take on 1 and 0, because this will represent the row and this 2 will represent the column. Okay, so this 0, 1, and 2, so the 2 position of the column is there, but the 0 position of rows. Okay, let's do the same thing in the next one. And now we have to change the yct to in comparison of city. Now it's time to take an enrolled university. Okay, so again we have to take in this one, and we have to take in this one, university. And over here we have to take in like 1 and 0. Now we are not taking 0 and 0, but now it's time to take in 1 and 0. So now if you can see, it's loaded. Now it's loaded. Yes, so now you are getting the output over here, enrolled university for this one. So that's how whenever we are doing this type of all the things for the training set, testing set, so it should take lots of time. Okay, it should take lots of time. Okay, so I can do for all. Also I just give you the 5 to 10 minutes. You can also do from your side as well, as you can try to complete this one as well as. Okay, so I can complete all the things related to this whole all 3x3 matrices. Okay, so I'm trying to write down all the code, but I can request to you, you can also pause this video and you can try to complete this whole thing to your own, because similarly we are going further like 1, 0, 1, 2. 2021 and 22. So that's how we are going for further things. Okay, so I just request to you, please pause your video, and at then you can check it like your code and my code is similar or not, and you are getting some similar output or not. So that's why it can give you a better idea regarding this one. Okay, so please pause your video over here. Okay, so I think you had done the same thing from your end as well as okay. So let's see how we can do for further things as well as okay. So first of all, I can try to rechange this everything over here. And as compared to Android City, now I have to take education level over here. So now I have to take one. I have to taken over here the education level, and from over here I have to take on one and one. So that's give you the better idea, one and one. So whenever I was added some more things, so at the same time I'm getting some more output over here, and that can reflect on my coding as well as, and it's giving me the beneficial thing like how I can add the things and how step by step I'm getting some better idea related to that one. Okay, so they should complete it till now like education level for that one. Okay, the same thing now, the next parameter, that is the company size is there, company type is there, and many more things is there. So let's make a copy of this one and try to complete this whole thing. Company type and company size. First we have to take in company size over here. So that is the company size, and in that company size we have to take in 1 and 2, and in the next line we have to take in company size, and then we have to take in company type. So we can complete it for the both the things. T is the smallest one is there, so we have to don't have to forget that one as well as. So now we have to take on 2 and 0, because again the row and column parameter dimension should be changed over there. Okay, so already 75% should be completed. So I hope the remaining part you are getting an idea like how we can go with that further things. Okay, so after that one, if you want to do the same thing what we already done in heat map of all the feature of train data set, same thing we have to develop over here. But at the same time, we have to replace the train with the taste part. Okay, so let's see the same thing over here. So we have to again go upward, and we have to find out like this coding over here, like generate the upper mask is there. Okay, so I have to copy this one, and now again, because till now here we have to create for the train data set. Okay, so now I want to do the heat map of all feature related to test data set. So that's why we have to change some of the coding part, otherwise mainly thing was similar, but some of the things we have to change over here. So what type of things we have to change over here first of all? So like matplotlib, seaborn, the style, white grid or subplot or that type of things is already completed over here. Whenever we are trying to create the mask, okay, so in that mask we have to take on df.train. Okay, so as compared to train, automatically here we have to take on the taste over here, because we have to do some similar of things, that's why. Okay, and once the mask with the np try indices it's true, that should correct. Okay, so still that is the perfect thing is there. But still here I want to add one more thing, and that is related to correlation, because we are doing the things based upon a tasting part. Okay, so that's why we have to again take it over here, the df of taste, and with that we have to try to find out the correlation things over that. Okay, so that should complete it. And in the second line everything is look like simple and different, not a too much different. We have to do some small changes over here. The CMAP, SNS diverging palette and 20, that all things are correct, but just only one thing we have to change over here. We already discussed about that one, like greater than 0.01 or less than minus 0.01. So that type of change if you can made it, so that gives the better idea regarding to your visualization as well as. Okay, so let's make that change as well as from over here. So we have to remove this one, and inside this one we have to simple take correlation over here, and inside the square bracket of correlation, first of all I have to just simply take correlation absorb function, and with that absorbent function we have to also take on the greater than 0.01, or that we have to end it with the circle bracket as well as the square bracket. So we have to check it out everything get completed or not, because in starting we have to create one bracket also. Okay, so that bracket is completed over here, but at then we had taken one more bracket, so we have to check that bracket is applied or not.
Okay, so after correlation, we have to also take over one more bracket to complete this one. Yes, now it's perfect, and we have to try to run this code. I hope yes, we are getting an output, and perfect output we are getting over here. So if you can see this output, you will get an idea like how we can do the same thing for the train data and how we can go the same thing with the test data. But here the everything is we changed, but just only one thing is remaining for changing, and that is the name of the test data. Okay. So according to that one, we are getting in over here the idea based upon this heat map, like the correlation between the variables in the data sets and the test data is nearly the same. So after lots of experiments and after lots of coding, we are getting an idea like yes, now it's time everything is look similar to try out the same thing, and the good predictive result could be expected if a good train result is obtained. So if we are getting some good train results then and then it should come over here. So let's check it out that code as well as like train results are good or not and how much the things are related to the class 0 and as well as with the class number 1. So that's why let's type the one code related tf train, and also we have to consider with the target things, and with that target we have to take an value as well over here, and according to value we have to count like how many samples related to the 0 and how many samples are related to the class number 1. So related to 0, there is a 14,381 samples are there, and related to class 1, just only 4,777 samples is there. Okay, so from this, we can clearly see that the target 0 is in majority, which will affect on our model. So we will use the smart modeling. So what is smart modeling? Smart modeling is known as the synthetic minority oversampling technique. Is there that technique we had not learned during the machine learning, because whenever we are trying to solve particular type of the problem statement or particular type of problem, so at the same time we are trying to test some different algorithm. Okay, because this is not a machine learning algorithm like smart algorithm, it's not machine learning algorithm, it's artificial intelligence algorithm is there. So many type of algorithms are there you can implement in different project as well as. Okay, so here we have to work with the synthetic minority oversampling technique, which will help us to create more synthetic data for the minority class one. Okay, because minority class are having just only 4,077, it's compared to that one the more 10,000 samples are there. Okay, so in the first part we have to see about how data treatment should be worked. So similarly in second part we are trying to get with the deal with the imbalanced data using the smart function or the smart algorithm. Okay, so smart algorithm full form, that is the synthetic minority oversampling technique. Let's start with the second part. So second part is I can already also provide over here the command so we can get idea like the second part is based upon deal with imbalanced data. So here we are going with that one, deal with imbalanced data, and for that we have to using a smooth method. We already discussed about smooth algorithm like a synthetic minority oversampling technique is there. Okay, so based upon that, let's find out what are the total features we are already having. Okay, so df.train based upon columns. So based upon that, we are getting an idea. These all are the features we are having. Okay, so based upon that, we have to develop the mode. So mode is the, for that we have to create the define the function, and based upon that we are able to create that one. But before that, we have to create one more thing related to the app train and app test. So what are the parameter you want to take it with the continue. Okay, so from the training part as well as from the testing part you have to select the both the things. Okay, so from the training part I have to select the things that is called as f train, and from the testing part that is known as f test. But the mainly we have to select some of the things like ct gender relevant experiences there, also the enrolled university is there, education level, company size, company type is there. So some of the things we are not taken like major disciplines. We don't want to work with the major disciplines. So let's see what we have to do for that. For that, first of all I have to copy this whole thing. So that should be easiest thing for me to write down everything. Before that, that should be easiest option for me. Like I can have to go with the ct, there is a ct is the correct one is there. Then I also want to take it as gender. Third, relevant experience is also necessary. Enrolled university, education level is there. But after that I want company size and the company type. I don't want to work with the like major discipline and experience. So what I have to do, I have to just simply remove this one from over here. So I have to neglect that one from over here. After that, there is a company type. I want company type. Also, after company type, I want to take it as a next thing, that is the last new job. That is not necessary, last new job. So that will not necessary, as well as enrollment ID is also not necessary. So I have to remove this one from over here. So I have to remove that. City development index, that was necessary. After training hours and target should be necessary in F train. So yeah, that is the complete thing is that. So that's how I have to create the F train. So after once creating F train, the next thing that I have to create, that is the F taste is equals to. So in F taste, I have to again use what are the things I have to take on over here. Same thing I have to use again over here. So for that, what I have to do, I have to copy over here and paste it over here. But the one thing is different over here. So in this part, I have to remove one thing, and that is the target. Okay. So otherwise, target everything I have to taken as similar as what we had taken for previous one. So yes, now we have to create an F train in Access, and that will perfectly run over here. So based upon that, I want to create one function. So that's why we are going to function in the particularly Python modules. We learn about the methods and functions. So different type of functions means we seen how to define the function. Okay. So but here first of all, I want to define the data set based upon F train and F test. Till now, DF train columns, we know how what type of things we already done. Okay, but here we have to work with the imbalanced data. Okay, so that's why we have to trying to do something new over here, like what type of things are necessary over here. So for that, I'm trying to create define the data. So that's why first of all, you already know, like we have to take in some def function, def, define the function for that one, and then we are going with this one. And if you want to provide the any type of the comment over here, so you can also take it like define data, that type of comment is necessary or helpful to you. So now this data set name is the data 2, because we already created data, test data, and many more type of thing. Okay, already we know how to create a df train columns. Okay, so I have to use the same thing over here. So from that one, df train, and inside the df train, I have to take a square bracket, and in the square bracket I have to simple take fdf f train. We already created f train over here, and then we have to create over here the x is equals to data to dot drop, because we want to drop something from over here. And that's why we have to again take columns over here, and from columns I have to select the target parameter over here. Okay, so here from here I have to remove the target parameter, and then also I have to go with the values. Okay, so that's how y axis is created. Now we have to create the y again over here. So for that, we have to take y as a data 2. Inside the bracket again, we have to take it over here the target, and then after applying a target, we have to take the values over here, and then at the end we have to return with the x and y. Now it's time to run this code, and we are not getting any type of error during the running of this code. So now that is perfect. Now it's time to create the smart function. Okay, so for that, synthetic some majority over the sampling technique. For that, first of all, we have to create the function def smote. That is my function over here. So for that, I have to write down some of the things like borderline smart for the imbalanced data set. Okay, so for whenever we are trying to create any type of the extra algorithms or functions, also we have to try to import some new libraries. Okay, that will require for that one. Okay, before that, I can provide over here the one comment regarding to that one, like borderline smot smart for imbalanced data set. Once this should complete it, then we have to go with the from collections import counter. So that is again important library is there. Then second library is the from sklearn. Once I have to take an sklearn, then I have to press the tab. So at the same time, it should be again we already discussed about this one, but again I can explore this function, like it can provide us to like a different things. So if I can do the model, so they can refer me the model selection. Okay, so due to this we are trying to reduce our spelling error. Okay, and then again we are trying to import train. Again I have to take a tab, so automatically it can fulfill like this one, train test and split. Enter. Again we have to take in some more libraries based upon sklearn. So from sklearn dot data set, because here we have to use data set type of thing. So that's why again I have to press the tab. So again it will take time to recommend me. No, I have to I'll learn how to write the whole spelling. Okay, now it's try to recommend me, and I have to take in this data sets, and from that I have to take an import make classification. So that's why it can give me the idea about the classification. Yes, perfect. Still from the imbalance oversampling thing, we have to import the smart algorithms. Okay. So for that, it's not look like that I have to create, I have to return down whole SMOTE smart algorithm. Okay, no, that is no necessary to return all the things. Okay. So from libraries, we are getting directly the things. Okay. So for that, we have to use IMB learn. Okay. So imbalance learn things we have to learn. Imbalance learn dot, again we are able to do this one, then again we have to oversampling thing is there. Okay, so overthink sampling, and from that we have to import smo. If I can press the tab, so they can show me like which type of option we are having, so SMOTE. Okay, so that's how we are going with that. And again we have to need some matplotlib library. We already import the matplotlib library, but still we can import that one like matplotlib, and from that one we have to import a pipeplot. After that, the last thing we already done like NumPy is there, but still from NumPy I want one small library, and that is the where. Okay, so from NumPy import where. So that's how we are going with the further things related to this related to the smart algorithm. Okay, so we done till now, but also we already created x and y. So again we are using this x and y parameter what we already created, and the thing is coming from the defined data part. Okay, so that's why we have to again use that one, and now we have to try to run this code, and everything is looks perfectly tried running. So we are getting an idea like all the libraries already available in my system. That's why we are not getting any type of error during the importing of library. If any one of the library is missing, at the same time I'm getting an error like particular smart library is not available or smart packages is not available, that type of thing we are getting over here. But everything is completed over here and all the libraries is provided over here, that's why we are not getting any type of error based upon a library. Now let's see how to summarize a class distribution. So here we have to summarize the class distribution. Okay, so I have to just simply take a dist. Okay, and again we have to take a counter over here, so that's why we have to create the parameter for the counter. So again for the counter we have to take a counter of y, and then we have to simply print a counter. Okay, so here the counter was over. Then after that we have to transform the data set over here. So again we have to provide the comments over here, and with that we have to go with the transform the data. So here we are working with the smart function, so that's why smt is equals to, we have to use smart function what already created over here, define of smart in various library we already used. Here if you want to take any type of the random state you can go with that, but here I don't want to take it any type of the random state, so that's why I have to take a simple thing, random state is equals to 0. So after applying random state is equals to 0, now I have to take x and y, and x and y is equals to smt dot fit, because we have to fit it smart with the particular sample, that's why. Okay, so we have to take sample, and in the sample we have to take and just simply x and y over here. So same thing we are already provided over here. And after that now it's time to, we have to write down x train, y train, or x test and y test. Okay, so we have to create it that parameter, that's why. So they can recommend, as well as if you can press the tab at the same time they can recommend us, like we have to take in some x train, then second we have to take x test, after we have to take in y train, and at the end we have to take in y test. It's simple. If you can take on all the letter as in small letter, so that should gives a better idea during this type of coding. Okay, if you have taken everything in a small letter, so that benefit for you as well, as because you, if you once you forward like capital X you taken or small x you taken or small y you taken, at the same time it should also create an error for the capital X or small x. Okay, so that's why every time I was using small x or small y or whatever the letter I was written, everything is come within small letter. So no need, no any type of issue will create it related to the like small letter we had used or capital letter we had used. So that type of basic idea you have to remember every time during this type of coding. So test size we have to taken like 0.33. It means we have to taken 66 percentage of testing data, sorry, training data and testing set data. That is a 33 percentage. And here for our checking, I have to taken random state is equals to 2. If you want to go with the random state is equals to 0, that is your decided things are there. We already run this code and everything is run perfectly, so still I want to add some more thing in this code. So that's why if you are running code at every step or every instance, so that will beneficial for you. Okay, because if you are having any type of error, so you can resolve it on that particular level. Once you can written whole the code and then you are getting an error, so it is very difficult for you to identify the error and how you can solve that error. Okay, so that's why I can prefer like every step you can try to find out your results as well as. Okay, now again, what we have to do? Again, we have to summarize the new class distribution. Okay, so now I have to summarize the new class distribution. But in this new class, what we have to taken? We have to again taken the same code what we taken over here. So I have to just only apply the control C for this one, and then I have to directly apply it over here. Okay, so again we have to do the same thing, and that's how we can complete this step. And based upon that one, lastly we have to try to plot the scatter plot. Okay, so scatter plot of example by that individual class label. So let's do the same thing, like scatter plot lot of examples by class labels. Okay, so once again we have to follow some of the indentations over here, and again for that one we have to taken for loop over here, and for with that label I have to taken this one, and I have to use the particular in function with this one counter dot items. And once it should complete it, again we have to follow some more indentation for the for loop, because here I want to try to create the indexing things related to the row, not a column, just only with the row. And again I have to use over here the where function where library, what comes from the numpy library. And when we use equals to, we have to use two time equals to for for equal the things. And then at the end you have to taken 0 within square bracket. Yes, so it looks like somewhere it looks complicated to during this coding, like lots of type of indentations we have to follow. So now we have to take an pie plot with the scatter thing, and in the scatter we have to fit it our input x with the sum of the row of ix 0, and many type of things we have to follow like row ix. And second thing, that is the one is there. So in the square bracket we have to adding everything. And second thing, we have to add also the label over here. So label is equals to string of label. So once you can complete this one, so here the for loop was ended over here, and now we have to then provide the something related to the matplotlib, like simple thing like legend type of function you have to provide, as well as if you can already taken like matplotlib, so you can also go follow with the plot.show. But here previously we can use like matplotlib like import. Okay, so that's why we have to use pyplot. So pyplot dot show, and everything should return from x train and y train. Okay, so that's why we have to coming with the x train x test, y train y test. So no need to return again and again. I have to directly copy this code from over here, and I have to end it over here, and now to run this code. Here I'm getting an error like label after that in counter. Okay, yes, I think I follow the I was in counter is perfect. Okay, what type of issues? Yes, I do follow. Yeah, now it's better. And also I think indentations. Yes. Yeah, now it's perfect, and the code was running till now. And see if you can get an idea like borderline SMT, like a sampling minority over the sampling techniques. Okay, so a new oversampling method in imbalanced dataset learning, it is developed in 2005. Okay, so we can implement the borderline SMT class from the imbalance learn. Okay, so there is multiple thing is that. Okay, but till now we are just only implement the SMOT. Okay, but the another one of the important method related to the like BSMOT is also there. Okay, so multiple methods is there. If you want to learn about the like how BSMOT method is works, so also we have to do some more coding and who can develop this one, so we can get some better idea related to that work. Okay, like how it should work in different things, like how SMOT should be work and how the BSMOT should be work, so we can get some better idea related to that one, like individual thing, how it can work and how it can work for the so on some different things. Okay, so if you want to develop, so at the same time you have to also learn about the how BSMOT should be work, or how also the SMOT SVM it should be work. So there's a multiple methods is there. Okay, so that's how you can get an idea like how you can go with the different things. So let's start with the machine learning model. Okay, so before starting in this problem, machine learning modeling. So broadly, there are three types of machine learning algorithms are there. So we are just taken a review or recap related to the machine learning algorithms, because we already learn everything in a depth with the supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. But still, as an overview, we can talk about the machine learning algorithms. So basically, in a supervised learning, algorithms are consist of a target or outcome variable, so it's work in terms of the outcome variable as a dependent variable, which is to be predicted from a given set of the predictors are called as the independent variables. So using this set of variables, we generate a function that map inputs to desired outputs, and the training process continues until the model achieves a desired level of accuracy on the training data. Example of supervised learning like regression algorithms are there, decision tree, random forest, KNN, logistic regression, support vector machine. These all are the part of the supervised learning. Also, second part of the learning, that is the unsupervised learning. So in the unsupervised learning algorithm, we do not have any target or outcome variable to predict or estimate, and it is used for clustering population in different groups, which is widely used for something customers in different groups for specific interventions. Example of unsupervised learning are a priori algorithms, k-means algorithm, and anomaly detection, and that type of things are considered as an unsupervised learning. But the last learning type, that is the reinforcement learning. So in the particularly reinforcement learning, the machine is trained to make the specific decision. It works this way, like the machine is exposed to an environment where it trains itself continuously using trial and error. So this machine learns from past experience and tries to capture the best possible knowledge to make accurate business decision. Example of reinforcement learning such as the Markov decision process, the Bayesian network is there. Also, some Q learning institutions are working as in reinforcement learning. So after talking about the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and the reinforcement learning, these three are related to that three type of learning. We have to here just working as a supervised learning. So basically, these are looks as a classification problem. So particularly with this problem, we are trying to solve the things related to logistic regression, decision tree, and the k nearest neighbor. So let's start to making machine learning modeling on the same project. So first of all, for that we have to simply import a library based upon a machine learning and sklearn. Okay, so first of all, I have to provide over here the comment, like from here we are going to start machine learning modeling. So that's why we have taken machine learning modeling over here, and simply I have to run this code. And from the sklearn, now it's time to we have to import lots of things over here step by step. So from sklearn, first of all, we have to import extra trees over here. So basically, I have to run just only sklearn dot, and I have to just simply press the tab, and then I have to taken some ensemble. So sklearn dot ensemble is here, and from that we have to import extra, and again you have to press the tab, so they can show you what type of things you want. So I want to work as a decision tree classifier, so that's why I have to take extra tree classifier as well. As also, to make a decision tree, I have to use some more libraries based upon sklearn, like sklearn sklearn dot, again I have to press the tab, and I have to just simply find out the tree, and from this tree I have to find out the decision tree classifier. So I have to simple write down the tab and easily getting out the decision tree classifier. So after decision tree classifier, also once model will be completed, then I have to go with the model evaluation. To find out the model evaluation, I have to require confusion matrix, as well as I want to require accuracy score, matrices, and many more things. So let's import all the things step by step over here. So from sklearn dot, now again I have to press the tab, and I have to find out the where is the matrices, and from the matrices I have to find out basically the accuracy score. Also I have to find out the matrices as well as, but that things I can write down in next line, like from sklearn you can directly type down the from sklearn import matrices. So that is also the one of the ways is there to import the libraries. Okay, let's import now the basically the logistic regression. Okay, so logistic regression is the part of the linear model. So sklearn dot linear. Now you are able to press the tab, so you are getting better idea like what are the different options is there. Okay, so there is a linear model is there, sklearn. Now yes, yes, yes. Pairing is wrong, that's why the tab should not work over here. And from the sklearn linear model we have to import. Okay, so this logistic regression is then logistic regression cross validation is there, but I want to just simply go with the logistic regression. After logistic regression, it is your base. If you want to import the navy base algorithm or the random forest, you can also do. But here I don't want to go with the navy base or random forest. I just after that I want to go with the k nearest neighbor. So from sklearn dot neighbors, from sklearn dot, now again I have to paste the tab, and so I have to find out where is the neighbors, and from this neighbor I want to k and k nearest neighbor. So that's why simply k, and if you write, so k nearest classifier you are able to import over here. Also from the matrices, if you already import the matrices over here, and if you can take a comma, so after that find out the confusion matrix over here. Okay, so that's why we have to take an, so yes, yes, that is a confusion matrix is there. So in a confusion matrix, you have to simply take a confusion matrix. After confusion matrix, many more things you can also take it over there. Like if you want to go with the classification report, you can also find out that one. So again, you have to press, and then you need to find out the classification report as well as classification report. If you want to plot the confusion matrix matrices, you can also take it that one. So one is the confusion matrix. So when you take a confusion matrix, at the same time they are just shown the number of what number is available in a confusion matrix. They are just only shown that one. But when you take a plot confusion matrix, at the same time according to color it should settle down, and according to that one it will represent to you, like you can use this type of color or this type of palette you can used over here. Already among this one we can also use Seaborn library, matplotlib library, that is already implemented over already imported many times before these work. Okay, so that's why I'm not trying to run same in same library many times. Okay, so all the library we already imported over here related to the machine learning model, and now it's time to make a model. So to make a model, first of all I have to settle still some of the basic things I have to settle over here. So that's why I have to define over here the models, and in that model I have to take on multiple things. First of all I have to take models as well as aspects to model. I have to take on x train, y train, and many more things are there. So we already write down over here, so we directly pasted over here, and then we have to take on title over here. So the title is standard over here, and then at the end of this bracket we have to just simplify the syntax, and then over here we have to find out the models is equals to models. Okay, and then we have to fit it this model to our x train and y train. So models dot fitted with the x train and the y train. So till now things were looks very existing, but still we are not completed in this coding. Okay, because still lots of work we have to do related to the small things related to if you want to import any type of the matrices, or we have to create it many more work till now. Okay, till then. So let's again we have to use x and y over here, and based upon x and y we already once do one thing like define data type of stuff we already done. So again we are using some of the similar things what we already used. So now based upon that one we are trying to create train matrix over here, and to create a train matrix I have to use pandas library to apply some cross tab. Okay, so that's why we have to use that one, and inside that bracket we have to take in some multiple things like based upon y train is that, also we have to take in model dot predict based upon x train. So the things are not just only depends upon the input or training set. It is also depends upon the testing set as well as okay. So that's why during the coding we have to concern about the many type of topics or many type of stuff related to the problem statements. Also here we have to again taken some row names over here, like what names are actual and what are the desired one is there. That is depends upon you, like how you want to take these all the names over here. Also we have to take some column names as well as okay. So when we take some column names at the same time, that is your individual choices, like how you want to go with the column names, okay, like how you approach with that column names, like predicted are there or prediction are there, so that is depends upon you. I have to go with the like simple one, and that is the predicted is there. But the once you can complete this type of course, so at the end you have to also follow any type of the semicolon you have to provide or not. So that type of stuff you have to mention when you are trying to complete this type of code. Okay. So till now we completed the train matrix. Okay. So once train matrix should be completed, again we have to follow some of the indentations, and now we have to try to create the test matrix as well as. So again we are starting to code with the train matrix, sorry, test matrix. But when we are trying to do test matrix at the same time, what type of thing we already taken over here, so same thing we have to again use over here. But only one thing or one change we have to apply it over here. As compared to y train, we have to taken y test, and based upon extra sorry, the train matrix and test matrix, we are able to create one more matrix, that is named as simple matrix is there. And again here we have to take pd dot cross tab over here, and in that we have to just simple take an y is there, and after y we have to simply take model dot predict, and under that predict we have to take an input x. Also we have to provide the row names over here, and row names is equals to we have to take an actual over here. Okay, so we have to take an that one. Same parameter we have to taken again over here, like what type of predicted we have to taken and what type of the actual we had taken. Okay, so train matrix, test matrix, everything is created over here. Now we have to run this code, so we are getting an idea like any type of error we had made or not. Okay, so still everything is looks perfect and very well formed. Okay, so no need to change anything because everything has worked perfectly. Now we have to create during the practical or during the visualization, we have to create some parameter like axis 1, axis 2, and axis 3 to get some different particular thing, like how many employee can do some total carrier switches are there, and what are the accuracy according to the total set. So that's why we have to create three axes, so axis 1, axis 2, and axis 3, and according to axis 1, 2, and 3, also we are trying to create some of the heat map. Okay, so according to heat map, at then whenever we are trying to create any type of the models according to sorry, logistic regression or the decision tree or the knn, so we are getting every time some proper results. That's why this type of stuff is necessary for us during coding. So let's start with the f, and in particular f we have to take an f of x is 1, then we have to take an f of x is 2 is there, and then x is 3 is there. So based upon x is 1, 2, and 3, we are trying to create some of the subplots. Okay, so plot dot subplots is there, and in that particular subplots we have to settle some parameter 1 and 3, so it will represent the total number of rows and total number of column as well as. So again we have to take share y, and share y is equals to, we have to take it over here, the true is there. And also we have to settle out the figure size, like how much size is required for this one. So we have to take on 20 and 3 over here. So once we taken this one, now we have to evaluate the G1. Okay, so G1 is important. Once we can create the G1, then we are easily able to create a G2 and G3, because all G1 will take in 3 lines to add some X label, Y label, and the title. That's why. But that is depends upon the heat map. So we have to take a heat map over here, and in that particular parameter, we have to first of all we have to take train matrix over here. So we have to take a train matrix, then we have to take an and not is equals to true, but in a true we have to take a capital T, because if we can take a small t at the same time, it is not applied properly. Okay, so it is neglect, it is shown as an error. and then we have to take a figure size. So figure size is equals to, also figure size is important, okay, but we already imported the figure size in before line, okay, so no need to apply it over here the figure size. If you didn't apply it in over the first line of this f of x1 x2 and x3, at the same time we are not applied over here, so here we have to apply it. But it is common for all three axes, so that's why we already applied over here. So simply we have to apply it over here the fmt, and based upon that one we have to use one of the decimal points, so that's why we have to take dot 1f. Otherwise the thing is clearly. Also if you want to add some more editing options like c bar and all, so I don't want to take it c bar, that's why to directly apply the c bar is equals to false. And still we have to apply some k arguments, so that's why we have to take an kws is equals to, here we, if you want to add some more size for the just only the arguments, so we can add like size is equals to 10. So I want to take it size is equals to 10 over here, and it is depends upon if you want to take more size. Okay, so let's take size is equals to 18, but I want to apply that size, so that's why to end it over here. Yeah, now it's applied. And then we have to take an ax is equals to ax1. So that's how we are able to create our first thing. But yes, now I have to end this bracket over here. Let's apply some of the title to g1 of this one, so g1 of set, and with that set I have to provide the title over here, and title we have to given over here. After applying this one, now it's time to set the y label as well as, so let's set that one, g1 dot set of y label and x label of both the things we have to settle over here. First of all, we can start with the y label, and in the y label it is our choice what are the output we want to apply over here in the comment. So total carrier switch, that is the comments over here, total carrier switch is there. And also we have to take in this curly bracket over here to represent the perfect things. And also we have to provide the format method over here, because we have to also provide some of the input things over here. So we have to take in simply format. Also we have to take on over here the y train dot sum with the function. Okay, so after applying the function, again here we have to take on font size, and font size that is the 14. And also at the same time we have to take on some rotations as well as, okay, so rotations or the rotation, the spelling mistake can also create an issue, so that's why rotation is equals to 90. Okay, so that is just thing is done with the y label. Okay, so still we have to do the things based upon a x label, but no need to write down everything again and again, because the code is to be too lengthy and it will take lots of time to complete this work. Okay, so that's why I have to complete take a copy of this one. Actually the carrier spelling is carrier, yes. And now here I have to take an just only x, and the comment of x label, that is accuracy score train set is there. So accuracy score range set is there. Okay, so that's how it is looks understanding for that one. So again I have to provide the curly brackets over here, and then I have to end this bracket over here. Okay, again we have to provide the format function over here, because format function is again important over here. And inside the format function we have to provide the accuracy score, and accuracy score of the particularly model predict of x train. Okay, so first of all we have to take an accuracy score, and inside that accuracy score we have to basically provide a model predict. Okay, because that is the important part over here. So according to that one we have to take a model, and with that model we have to take and predict of x train over here. And once x train should be applied, again second part we have to take an y train over here. And after y train, if you can see over here, so there is multiple brackets are offed over here, so we have to take an basically the three brackets at the end. Okay, because it looks very complex. Okay, and okay I have to take one more bracket over here. Okay, I think it should complete it over here, because it looks very complex whenever we are applying any type of the brackets and all. where we are getting an error. Yes, we are getting an error over this point. Okay, so yes, here we are not using equals to, we have to use semicolon to get some better idea. F of, okay, again at this point we are getting an error. Okay, we have to take an as comments of this one. Yes, now it's better after completion of lots of work. At the end we are getting an idea like how it should work, and it looks complex during the coding as well as. Okay, so now I can make again copy of this one. Okay, like I have to make a copy of G1 to start the coding based upon a G2. First of all, we have to try to complete this G2 coding over here. Okay, so that looks better for us to understanding everything. To provide over here the, okay, so G2 is equals to SNS hit map. Again we have to work with the taste matrix. Okay, so whenever we are working with the G2, at the same time here I'm not taking train matrix. Here I have to take a taste matrix. Also anode is equals to true, and some of the parameter we have to provide is the same, but at the end we have to provide ax is equals to ax2. So after that one, no need to apply this one like set and title and everything. No need to apply this one. Simply we have to settle down the y label and x label. The both the things are similar, but here we have to simple take it as a taste. Okay, so here we have to take a taste of some, and font size, rotations, everything is look similar. Also here as well as everything looks similar, but here at the same time we have to take on over here again x taste. Okay, and then whatever white rain we had taken, so as replacement of that one we have to again take it over here the white taste. Okay, so again I have to copy this one, and now I have to add this so whole code to over here. So everything is looks perfect, so look like similar G1 and G2 we already created, but at the end now we have to try to create the G3 as well as. Okay, so G3 is again looks based upon a matrix. Okay, like G1 is based upon a train part, then G2 is based upon a taste part, but now we have to do the third part, and that is based upon a matrix. So let's again use this one, because we have to copy that one over here, and over here we have to take on a G3. So we have to replace everywhere G3 over here. Okay, so here we have to take a taste set. We didn't change that part over here, the taste set. And again here we have to take a matrix, simple matrix we have to take a, not we have to take a taste matrix or any type of things. We have to take a simple one, and at then we have to just simply take an ax is equals to ax3. And after that here we have to take just only y sum, not we have to take y dot sum and many more things. And here we have to simple take x and y. No need to apply the lots of thing over here. Okay, so x and y is simple. And also here we have to just a simple take on a total set, so control n control x. So that part should be entered over here, so getting better idea. So G1, G2 and G3, the all three things is already created over here. Still we have to work with some of the feature importance part, but first of all we have to run this code, and this code is running clearly and properly. Okay, so let's check it about the how the plot should be worked over here. So that's why we have to just simply go with the plot dot show, and after showing if we can run over here, so it should be run over here. But we are not trying to just only run, we have to coming as a return. Okay, so return y, we have to take a model dot predict of x. So that's how we have to again come over here, and now it's running, so now it's completed over here. Also similarly how we can create the model. Okay, so in the same way I also wants to create a feature importance of the model. Okay, okay, so let's see how to create a function for the feature importance. Okay, so for that, first of all I can start with this one, like define the function, and with that we have to go with the feature importance. So we have to take an feature importance over here, like feature importance, and inside the feature into importance we have to use the things related to the models. So that's why once we can already created a model, then and then we are able to create this one. So based upon models, again we have to do the same thing related to the models. And now it's time to again create the models fitted with the particularly x train and the y train. Okay, but here I have to take an x train 1 and x train y train 1. So we have to find out when we taken or when we created x train 1 or x train y train 1. Okay, so that is again important over here, because based upon a model fitting, we are trying to create X train 1 and Y train 1. So that's why we have to take an X train 1. And then second thing, that is the Y train 1. So once we created X train 1 and Y train 1, now in the importance, we have to find out the things related to over here, like importance is equals to model dot feature, model dot the feature we have to take on over here, and also we have to find out the feature importances over here. So once we can find out model and feature importances, and then we can again merge up with the features as well as. So features is equals to df dot taste of column. So here we have to take a df dot taste, and with that taste, uh, we have to take underscore. So that is the perfectly worked over here, and then and in that columns we have to take a semicolon with 9. So that's how it should work. So now we have to run this code. So it is run, this code is run properly over here. So it's getting an idea like everything is going in a perfect manner. So now we have to find out some important thing. So that things we are getting from pd dot data frame. So here we are getting data frame, and particularly in that data frame, we have to getting over here the features as well. So first thing, that is the features, and in these features we have to take an f test, and once we have to take an f test, now the things is related to the importance is there. So if you can see, I have to once in feature I have to use single quotes, but now I have to use double quotes. So that is okay. It will not creating any type of issue during the coding if you are using some different things. Okay, so it is not an create any type of issue over the during the coding. Okay. Okay, so the things is both the things I've already taken, and again I have to take an importance, and inside the importance on square bracket I have to take some importance. Okay, I have to take some importance is there. Okay, and some importance I have to equate with the importance of important. Okay, so inside that one, what I have to taken over here, so that things I have to taken over here importance, and with that I have to use come sum function over here. We already discussed about during the machine learning part, like what is the meaning behind the come sum options. So now I have to apply some type of the sorting on importance, and according that I have to take on the values, and inside values I have to provide some sorting this by the category related to the importance over here. So yeah, now it's working properly, but also we have to checking out like we are getting any type of error or not. If we are getting an error, so it can create trouble. No, we are not getting any type of errors. So now it's time to test it our model, like how it should work. See, here we are just only creating the SMOTF type of the algorithm, but it's also you are also able to create the B smart function or also the S smart function. Many type of algorithms are available with the sklearn library, so you can test it many more. So at the same time, in resource I can provide you the multi more comparison as well as, but here we are doing some projects first time, so that's why I'm not taking everything together. So because if we can take an everything together, so it should create an type of issue during the understanding. Okay, so that's why I'm not taking everything as in continuously. So we have to take an Y train 1, and then we have to take on the Y test 1. So once everything should be completed, now we have to just simply take SMO, the smart function, and let's time to check it out like how smart function can give an output. But if you can see over here, they cannot import name like make classification from sklearn dataset. So here little bit type of issues we are getting over here. So we have to check it out like what type of issues we are facing over this time, like basically cannot import the name like make classification that type of from the sklearn data sets. So let's check it out where we use sklearn data sets. So where is the sklearn data sets is there, because everything is related to that one. Okay, yes, so sklearn data sets is there, and they can show the issue based upon this one. So let's check it out what type of issues created over here from the sklearn, because sometimes it is also shown you like what type of things are overing over here. So make the classification, I think everything is looks completely okay. Don't worry, we have to run again and again so we can get some more idea like why it should not work. Okay, cannot import the name. Again, it is not easily evaluate, or it is not easily find out the name. Okay, so basically throughout the errors we are getting some more idea, like why we are getting an error during this type of things. Because see, whenever we already run the code related to the sklearn data sets and import the make classifications, at the same time it should already work. Okay, but now whenever we are going to do this one, we are not getting an output. So reasons are there, like we have to take classification. Okay, okay, but still now we are getting different error. So that's how the error we are getting over here. Okay, because different every time we are getting some different error. Okay, so that is nothing but that is different, depends upon, like, yes, now I was using smooth function, that's why I'm getting an error over here. Don't worry, we can solve each and every error. So that's how we are getting in more and more idea, like what type of issues we are having over here. Yes, counter reference before assignment. So why we are getting again error? Let's replace something over here. So that is the counter. Here we have to take capital C over here. So I think everything is based upon that one. Again, we are trying to run this code. Yes. So still, what type of things we are facing over here? Again, we are getting error from the counter. Why? Okay, let's check it out. What type of things? Again, we had done summarize the class. So yes, we are getting error over here. Okay, let's check it out now. Still we are getting an error. Yes, still we are getting an error, but now we are getting different error. So here we are getting an error, like x and y is there, and also smt dot fit example. Okay, okay, so fitted sample with the x and y again. Okay, okay, okay. So during the sample, yes, 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 I think I told you, like, we are having some spelling mistakes are there. So that's why nothing but difficult are there. So sample is there, so that's why we are getting an error over there. Still we are getting, so it's during the coding we are getting the things, like what type of error we are done it over there. So there is a label is there, so not a labels. So yes, basically in which line we are getting an error, we have to find out that one. Okay, okay, so row of ix. Okay, yes, yes, yes. The scatter plot of the example by class is okay. So first of all, we have to find out. Yes. So here we have to take a label. Yes. But here I have to take labels. Yes. That's why we are getting an error. So that's how multiple times we have to train this one. So at the end we are getting an error, getting an idea, like on what level we are getting an error. Okay. So again here we are getting a scatter missing one required positional argument. So I think we have to check it this line, so get some better idea, like which type of issues I had done on this line. Okay, so if you can see that phi plot is there, dot scatter is there, x of row ix is there, and also yes, 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 we done one mistake over here, like when we are running this code. So we are just only applying one argument over here. I forgot to apply the second argument. I already taken first argument over here. We have to apply it over here the two arguments. Okay, so first argument is 0, and then again we have to taken second argument. So second argument is again look like this one. Like again we have to take a row of ix, we have to taken, and same side we have to taken also one, and then with that one we have to provide the label is equals to string of label. So that things is missing, that's why we are getting just only one argument. Yes, now everything looks perfect, and now you are getting an idea what type of things we had done till now. So based upon that one, there is the just output of smot. If we can apply some more algorithm, we are getting some difference between another algorithms. Okay, so what are the things are there? So counter 0 14,381 is there, and 1 4,777, and counter, so multiple counter we are getting, because here we are getting making some different training and testing sets. Okay, okay, so let's start with the logistic regression. It is a classification, not a regression algorithm. Basically, logistic regression follows the classification things, and it is used to estimate the discrete values, binary values like 0, 1, yes, no, true, false, and it is based on a given set of the independent variables. In simple words, it predicts the probability of occurrence of an event by fitting the data to a logit function or a sigmoid function. It's look like a S curve. So hence it is also known as a logit regression, since it predicts the probability and its output values lies between 0 and 1 as expected, like it is binary, that's why. So the logistic regression is a fundamental classification technique, and it's belong to the group of the linear classifier and is somewhat similar to a polynomial and linear regression. So the logistic regression is fast and relatively uncomplicated, and it is convenient for you if you are beginner or if you are learning about the machine learning to in particular that one area to interpret the results. So all through it is essentially a method for a binary classification, and it can also be applied for multi-class problem. But basically throughout the binary classification, it can provide you the good output. During the multi-class classification, it shouldn't provide you the perfect output. So let's see what are the results we are getting during the logistic regression. So for that, first of all, we are going with the title things. Like this one, we have to create one parameter that is a title, and here we are trying to implement a logistic regression. So that's why spelling is again important over here, because we already taken this one many times, like logistic regression. Among that, we are trying to implement logistic regression with the smart function. That's why we have to taken this one. Now it's the main time, like we are trying to import or we are trying to working with the models. So logistic regression are again imported over here. So we have to taken the logistic regression over here, and inside the logistic regression making the model, we are using like xtrain and many more things like xtrain, y x test, y train, and y test one. So this is the important thing. That's why I just directly copied from over here you and directly pasted over here. So we are getting this much of parameter, and at the end we have to provide one over here, the title. Okay, so we can see everything is looks perfect. Let's see, we are getting error or okay. So who the models is not defined. Yes, yes, we have to take in capital M because previously we are using capital M. Again, I think we are having again some of the spelling mistakes. So that's why the model is not defined. Where is the model is not defined over here? We have to checking the things like code is perfect or not again and again, because see, you have already seen in last session, whenever we are getting some type of the error, we have to again check the code, like on what level of status we are getting an error. Okay, so the logistic regression is there, so the name model is not defined over here. So we have to check it, like why the name model is not defined. Okay, so here we have to go on over here, like xy define data. So we have to scroll up something, like now it's time to check this code totally and probably and thoroughly. We have to checking this one. Let's see what type of issue we had done over here. So train matrix is there, and we already taken. Okay, here we have to take models. So that's why we have to just simply have to take a model over here. We can take a model over here. Now it's running perfectly. Yeah, I think now it's going perfectly. Okay, still I'm getting an error. Don't worry, we have to checking somewhere else. We are still done some mistakes, small of the mistakes. So that's why we are getting an error. So don't worry, arrays must all be the same length. Okay, arrays should be come in same length. Okay, so we are not getting array within same length. Okay. Again, we have to check it out the test matrix. I think some of the arrays should not come properly. Again, we have to check the code why and what type of issue should generate over here. So basically, whatever the model you will make in real world, also you are trying to make it any type of the problem or project. So at the same time, you are getting this type of issue. So don't worry regarding to that one, because it is happen every time. It is not just only happen in this project. Every time it should happens. So column names is there. Also the test matrix. It depends upon the y train, and it is also depends upon the y test. A model based thing is there, and also we have to predict. Yes. Here we have to take an X test as well as. Okay. Let's see. Still we are getting error or not. Okay, so now we are not getting any type of error, and perfectly we are getting an output over here. So similarly, here we are just only create the logistic regression for the smart function. Okay, similarly we are also able to create the k nearest neighbor and decision tree. Also we have to see in same session like how to create the knn with the same thing. Okay, but before that you have to check it this one, like how the things are working over here with the smart function. Okay, like total carrier switch is 9656 is there, and how many samples are considered as a true positive, how many considered as a true negative, because basically it should represent a true positive, true negative, false positive, and false negative. And we already learned about like what are the importance of the true positive and true negative, false positive, and false negative in terms of the confusion matrix. Okay, because confusion matrix is the main parameter things during the evaluation of the classification problem. So that's why it is important thing is there. So after so here we are getting this type of stuff over here also. If you want to find out some of the accuracy score or classification report, we are still getting the things, but that type of things we are finding out at the end of this session. Okay. So still we are just only completing the logistic regression. The next machine learning model, that is the k nearest neighbor. Let's take a review about like how knn should be worked over there. So the KNN, if we can talk about the KNN, so it can be used for both classification and regression problem. Logistic regression just only used for the classification, but KNN should be used for the classification and regression. However, it is more widely used in classification problem in the industry. So K nearest neighbor is a simple algorithm that stores all available cases and classifies new cases by a majority vote of its K neighbors. The case being assigned to the class is most common amongst its k nearest neighbor, measured by the distance function. We already know like what type of distance functions we can find out, like Euclidean distance function we have to find out. So the k nearest neighbor is a very simple and easy to understand, versatile, and one of the topmost machine learning algorithm. KNN is used in the variety of applications such as finance, healthcare, political science, handwriting detection, image recognition, and the video recognition. In credit rating, the financial institutes will predict the credit rating of the customer, and in loan disbursement, banking institute will predict whether the loan is safe or risky. But in political science, classifying the potential voters in two classes, will vote or won't be vote. So KNN algorithm is used for both the classification and the regression problem, whereas KNN algorithm based on the feature similarity approach. But however, still we can talk about more related to KNN. So KNN method is computationally expensive. Okay, so variables should be normalized as higher range variables can be the biased. Or for better results, normalizing data on the same scale is highly recommended. So let's start with the KNN, like how KNN classic KNN neighbors technique can give us the different output over here. So for that, no need to changing everything over and over. Just we have to provide over here the one comment that we trying to implement KNN method or the KNN technique. Otherwise, we are using the same code what we already using over here because the parameter should be same. Just we have to replace the logistic regression with that KNN neighbors. So that's why here we have to provide the titles simple. We have to take an KNN title over here, but here we have to change the everything like K nearest neighbor. So for that we have to take an K and so here we have to just only taken the k nearest neighbors. Okay, so k neighbors is there. So and also inside the k neighbors we have to do provide some of the neighbors like how many neighbors you want, like k is equals to 5 or k is equals to 1 or 2. Okay, so that is depends upon us like how many things we have to decide over here. So so neighbors is equals to, I want to take an as a 1. Also here we have to take and just removing this. Let's see. Yes, I think the spelling was wrong. K, I think there is a lots of things is based upon the spelling, so that's why you have to follow the proper spelling. Okay, so we have to take in the neighbor spelling over here like k neighbors classifier, because some part is look coming from capital and some is coming from the negative, and the sometimes spelling is should also different is there, that's why. Okay, so now we are getting the perfect output over here based upon the KNN. It should taken some time to run the things. Yes, now it's run, and KNN should provide the better output as compared to the logistic regression. So if you can visualize the things, you will getting some better idea like how the KNN should be worked over here in terms of the true positive. So here if you can see the true positive is less as compared to this one. So here we are getting the 9,500 around true positive is there. Here just only we are having the 3,000 sorry 6,500. So more 3,000 samples are trying to correct on their own. Okay, so accuracy should be improved during the KNN method. So that's how whenever whatever the problem or whatever the project we are doing, so at the same time you can take in some different things and making some comparison, so you will get some better and better idea like how you can go with the further things. Now we have to implement a third method, and that is the decision tree. So let's make a note over here first of all. Like now we are starting to work with the decision tree. But before starting a decision tree, let's take a general overview. Already we discussed many times, and we briefly discuss about the decision tree as a regression and decision tree as a classifier. but still here again we have to do this one. So that's why we can just take a small overview about the decision tree classifier. So basically, decision tree classifier is a type of supervised learning algorithm that is mostly used for a classification problem. It is also used for the regression problem. But here our objective is related to the classification problem. Surprisingly, it works for both the categorical and continuous dependent variable. It's related to like that regression and classification. But in this algorithm, we split the population into two or more homogeneous data. This is done based on most significant attributes or independent variables to make as distinct group as possible. A decision tree is a flowchart like tree structure where an internal node represents feature or attribute and the branch of represent a decision tree rule, and each leaf node represents the outcome. The topmost node in a decision tree is known as the root node, and it learns to partition on the basis of the attribute value. It partitions the tree in recursively manner called recursive partitioning, and this flowchart-like structure help you in decision making. It's a visualization like a flowchart diagram which easily mimics the human level thinking. That is why decision tree are easy to understand and interrupt. Decision tree is a white box type of machine learning algorithms, and it shares internal decision making logic which is not available in the black box type of algorithms such as the neural network. Its training time is faster compared to the neural network algorithm, and the time of complexity of decision tree is function of number of records and the number of attributes in the particular what of the data you can taken for that one. So let's see how we can do the same thing during the practical. But again, I have to just copy this code over here because we have to just simply replace the decision tree over here from the library like one. So basically, here I have to take a simple decision tree, and after that we have to simple take a decision tree classifier over here. So for that one, we have to take an decision tree classifier. So that's how we can develop this one. And also whenever we have to provide some more criteria, so we are able to take some depth. So here I want to taking maximum depth is equals to 14. So that is your individual choice, like what type of depth you want to take it, you can further take it that one. So based upon that, if you can see here, if you can compare the comparison between the knn and the decision tree, so here we are getting an idea. Somewhere decision tree was good and somewhere knn was good, but as compared to knn and decision tree, the logistic regression are not good because in every sections there somewhere, see if you can see, just only compare this and this one. So at the same time knn should be better, but further tables the particularly decision tree classifier should be work good. In fact, with the result of 81.6 percentage, this is the level of accuracy expected for a simple one as well. So let's find out some of the feature importance based upon a decision tree. So we already created the things like a feature importance, a particular type of parameter we already created, or a functions we already created like feature importance. Here we have to evaluate the feature importance based upon a decision tree classifier. Okay, so that's why it should imported, yeah, important over here. Like, and also we are able to try to provide any type of the depth, and that is the maximum depth is there. So maximum depth is equals to 14 is there, and now we have to run this code, but we are getting an error. I think there is an error, something is based upon a particular spelling. So again, name model is not defined and importance is equals to model. Okay, because we have to further we have to always use models. Okay, so that's why it should not be worked. Okay, so here we are just only use, or we have to change the name as well. As if we can change in first and second line as model and model, so we can also do the same thing. So here we have to do just simple model is equals to models, and then from also we have to remove as, and now we have to run this code and let's check it out. We are getting proper output or not. So here if you can see here we are getting everything should be run and it should take some time to running completion. Okay, so once the running should completed, yes, now we are getting some final output. So here you are getting idea like what are the features and what are the importance and what are the some importance. So that's how we can get an idea which features are more important and which features are not much important. So basically this type of chart can give us an idea like which whatever the features are important during our any type of the coding. So feature importance is a very important part over this project. Okay, so basically this project is completed over here because these projects are having some different variations are there. In the starting of this project, we can start with the data set handling, and also first of all import the libraries, then import the data set. And many times we are working with the data pre-processing part, data treatment part, as well as we can work with the visualization part as well as. And in that particular visualization part, we can also discuss something based upon how imbalanced data set should be handled, because basically here we had worked with the imbalanced data set with the smooth things, like at the same time sampling over technique we should use. And based upon that we have to create modeling, and on a modeling we can test it logistic regression as well as decision tree and the k-nearest neighbor type of the machine learning techniques we can implement it.